Are you planning to sell your property in Spain soon? If that's the case, you should get familiar with the following concept: local capital gains tax, also known as Plusvalia Municipal. The name might sound very technical, but don't worry, because after watching this video, you will understand it perfectly. The local capital gains tax is very important when it comes to selling your property, because basically you might end up paying more than you were supposed to. In this video, we'll cover everything you need to know about this tax. Additionally, we'll also talk about how and when to pay it. But first, I'd like to clarify something quickly to avoid any confusion. The local capital gains tax, or Plusvalia Municipal in Spain, is quite different from what you might know as capital gains tax in the UK or the US. In Spain, we actually have two different taxes when you sell a property. One is very similar to the UK and US capital gains tax, which applies to the total profit from selling your property, including both the building and the land. The other, which we will focus on today, the local capital gains tax, specifically taxes only the increase in the value of the urban land itself, as determined by your local council. Of course, since many of my viewers are from other countries, today I will be focusing only on explaining the Spanish local capital gains tax, and from now on I'll just call it Plusvalia Municipal because that's the actual name, and the translation, even if we can find some kind of equivalence, there's not 100%, so I will just call it by its Spanish name. First, the definition. What is the Plusvalia Municipal? Officially, this tax is known as the tax on the increase in the value of urban land, or valor de los terrenos de naturaleza urbana. The first time that I heard this, I didn't understand anything, so I think it would be good to explain what the Plusvalia Municipal is with an example. Let's say you bought a house in Marbella 10 years ago. When you bought this property, the land value was recorded at 40,000 euros. Now, 10 years later, you decide to sell your house and the land value has increased to 70,000 euros. The Plusvalia Municipal applies specifically to this increase in land value, which in this case is 30,000 euros, the difference between the 70,000 euros sale price and the 40,000 euros purchase price. Let's say that Marbella's local council applies a tax rate of 30%. This means that you would pay 30% out of the 30,000 euros, which would be a total of 9,000 euros for the Plusvalia Municipal. Before we move forward, let me briefly introduce myself. My name is Juan Bertomeu and I work alongside my father, a lawyer and tax advisor in Spain with more than 30 years of experience. We specialized in property transactions, tax advisory, and inheritance for non-residents in Spain. So if you're planning to sell your property in Spain, we offer you a free initial 15-minute consultation to see your specific case and see if we can help you. We have offices in Moraira and Denia, this is the Alicante province, but we serve clients all across the country. So in case you are in another part of Spain or in another country, you can book your online consultation on the link on the description of the video and the comments. If that's the case, you can also send us an email, you're seeing it now on screen, and this said, let's continue. What causes my land to increase in value in Spain? Some factors that might influence this increase in the land include urban development and creation of green spaces, for example, infrastructure improvements in the area, environmental factors, and proximity to services and amenities. So if the area has improved with new shops, services, or infrastructure, it's very likely the value of your land has also increased. Another important reason why land value might significantly increase, and this even catch sometimes owners by surprise, is when your property is located in an area with very limited space for new constructions. Let's say you own a house in Moraira, my hometown by the way, where we also have one of our offices along with another in Denia. Currently, Moraira has very few plots available for new construction, which means existing plots have become more desirable and their values increase considerably faster. How is the Plusvalia Municipal calculated? This is a key factor. This is a tax that at first glance seems complicated, but once you understand both methods of calculation, you will get it. In fact, since November 2021, sellers have the option to choose the method of calculation that better suits them, and this depends on a lot of circumstances that we will see right now. Important clarification before we continue. When I mention purchase price or sale price, I'm referring only to the value of the land itself. Remember, when we're talking about Plusvalia Municipal, we don't care about the price of the property or the improvements that you made on the house, but only on the increase of the land value. This is something very important. I have said it many times along the video, but it's the key thing that I want you to remember. The first way of calculating the Plusvalía Municipal is the real method or método real. This method considers the actual increase in the land's value from when you purchase the land until you sell it. In other words, it simply calculates the difference between the land's purchase price and the land's sales price. Here are the exact steps for the real method. Step 1. Determine the purchase price of the land. Step 2. Determine the sale price of the land. Step 3. Calculate the actual increase in value. Simply subtract the purchase price from the sale price. Step 4. Apply the local tax rate to this increase. Let's use a practical example to illustrate it. At the beginning of the video, I mentioned an example regarding Marbella. That's the real method. The second method you can use is the objective method or método objetivo. This method is different from the real method because it doesn't use your actual purchase or sale prices. Instead, it uses specific coefficients set annually by your local town council and applies them to the official cadastral value or valor catastral of your land, multiplied by how many years you've owned the property. These are the exact steps you should follow with the objective method. Step 1. Obtain your land's cadastral value or valor catastral from your property tax records. Step 2. Determine how many years you've owned the land. Step 3. Find the annual increase coefficient set by your local council. Step 4. Calculate the increase in land value by multiplying the cadastral value by the annual coefficient and by the number of years you've owned it. Step 5. Finally, apply the local tax rate to this calculated increase. Let's clarify this with a practical example using Javia. Imagine your land in Javia has a cadastral value of 50,000 euros. You've owned this plot for 10 years and Javia's annual increase coefficient set by the council is currently 3%. So, if the cadastral value is 50,000 euros, years of ownership are 10 years and the annual increase coefficient is 3%. So, step 1 would be calculate the increase in land value, that's 50,000 euros multiplied by 3% multiplied by 10 years, that's 15,000 euros, and the second step is you applying the tax rate. Again, we will assume it's 30% in Javia. 30% of 50,000 euros equals 4,500 euros. Which one is the best method to calculate the Plusvalía Municipal in Spain? Well, the thing is that there are not two same scenarios. That's why it's very important to know how to calculate both ways. But if you want something that can be helpful for you, I would suggest, and please keep my words, I would suggest that if the cadastral value increase has been modest or you've owned the property for a short period of time, probably the real method is better for you. In other cases, for example, when the cadastral value has increased significantly since the purchase or if the fixed percentage is low, you might prefer applying the objective method. It's important to highlight the following. The tax rates for the Plusvalía Municipal are set individually by each town hall or council in Spain. This means that if you own a property in Marbella and your friend owns a property in Alicante, the Plusvalía Municipal is going to be completely different. And especially if you own a property in a place that is not a big city, I recommend you consulting with a professional because often, even if you look for Google, Plusvalía Municipal in, I don't know, Moraira, sometimes the results are not true because at the end there's people that is looking just to, let's say, be in the first Google page result, but it's not real information. But this is my recommendation. Well, I've been thinking, and as a way of saying thank you for watching this video up to this moment, don't worry because I have a few more interesting things to say, but if you want, you can leave the name of the city or town where your property is located and I'll check 100% real how so the tax rate for the Plusvalía Municipal, so you have a clear idea. Let's talk about the payment obligations. Who and when must pay this tax? Very simple. Who? The seller, and when? Upon selling the property. It's very important for you to remember that the seller is the one that must pay the Plusvalía Municipal. And once the property transaction has been done, you have 30 days to pay the Plusvalia Municipal. If it's not paid on time, as with any other tax in Spain, there will be late payments or charges, significantly increasing the amount payable. If you miss the payment deadline, the town council will quickly act, and you will receive a notice demanding immediate payment, including accurate late payment interest. Is payment by installment possible? Yes, but I recommend you paying it all in once. Finally, let's talk about some common problems related to the Plusvalia Municipal. And believe me, this happens way more often than you would imagine. In many cases, property owners themselves are responsible for calculating and declaring this tax through a self-assessment. However, local authorities have the right to review and challenge your calculations. If they disagree, usually about the land's value, they may issue what's called a liquidación complementaria, a supplementary tax bill that demands a higher payment. This additional bill often results from updated cadastral values, new official reference values, or independent valuations done by the council. If you're unable to justify your initial valuation or fail to respond quickly enough, you will end up paying not just additional tax but interest as well, which can become unexpectedly costly. I want to keep this video as a clear introductory guide, but don't worry, because in the future I will be making specific videos talking about these problems with the Plusvalia Municipal more in depth. And really, this video was very important for me to be done because I actually checked on YouTube and even on Google about the local capital gains tax or Plusvalia Municipal. And you know, some articles, some videos are outdated because in recent years the courts have changed the way this tax can be calculated. So it was very important for me to do an updated guide for 2025, but this will be the same for the future years about this tax. I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to hire our legal and tax advisory services, feel free to book your free online consultation down in the description of the video and in the comment section. If you'd rather come to our offices in Moraira or Denia, just send us an email, send us a WhatsApp. And there's another important thing that I want to say because it's very special for us. We've been working in the last months for our new website, which is called expatabogados.com. I also leave it in the description of the video and I invite you to visit it. There you can see the services we offer and you can learn a bit more about us. Lastly, if you enjoyed the video, I would really appreciate if you like the video, leave a comment, because that helps YouTube to say, oh, this guy is saying something interesting, as well as if you share it on Facebook, WhatsApp group. This way you help me reach more and new audiences that I think that honestly can be interested on this content, even though it's a very specific, because I'm Spanish but doing videos in English for 4 years that have property in Spain. But I really enjoy my work. I also really enjoy the creative side of it, and this is making videos. I also invite you to follow me on my social media such as TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, and well, I see you in future videos. Bye bye.